Hi, my name is Lars Hedlund and I'm a sales manager at Novato Solutions. In this video, we will look at our product NC10 for USRP. After the introduction, the product owner, Jonas Mäki, will walk you through a demonstration explaining how you set up and get familiar with the system. After the demonstration, I will come back and explain a little bit further on features and how you take the next steps. Based on RFEL algorithms and National Instruments USRP 2955, we developed a portable turnkey channelizer product with demodulation capabilities. The principle of a channelizer is to look at the wideband spectrum and channelize areas of interest into narrower bands, also called channels, for future processing. The channelization technique can be used in many application areas across the industry and military segments. Multi-carrier, multi-channel DDC, and comment application. Now, let's take a step back and look at the product. Jonas.
Okay, my name is Jonas Mäki and I'm the product owner for the NC10 product family. Today we will be talking about the NC configuration suite. Firstly, we have the hardware setup, then we will be talking about the server settings, and then we will be talking about the receiver settings and how to configure that, and also configuring the channels, and then looking at viewing the channels. Let's start at looking at the hardware setup. Firstly, we have the antenna connected to the first receiver of the USRP. Then we have the 10 gigabit enabled switch and our computer running the server software. Firstly, we have two 10 gigabit Ethernet ports on the USRP. The first port is communicating with the computer directly over SFP plus 10 gigabit Ethernet. This takes care of all commands back and forth to the hardware for configuring channels and everything else. The second port is dedicated for streaming channelized data. And this is connected to the switch, which enables channel data streaming to multiple clients. Today we have it connected with regular 1 gigabit Ethernet cable to our network card on our desktop computer. If you bought the USRP 2955 from Novato Solution, it comes pre-installed with the correct firmware. Otherwise you would need this MXI link connected to this PCI Express port to update the firmware. Let's go ahead and move into the software. By pressing Operate and Run, we start to communicate with the hardware. In the File menu, we have a lot of different settings, which is very important for proper operation. In the Help menu, documentation, you will see all needed documentation for setting these settings correctly. In the Event log, we can see all events happening in the server. The Command log is showing us all the TCP/IP communication between the clients and the server. Okay, so now we are online. Let's look at the tuners. Firstly, we have to select the first tuner where we have our antenna connected. So let's select that. We have our center frequency at 100 MHz, which is where we have our FM stations. We also have the FFT settings. We have the length. We also have the averaging mode we can select, but let's use default for now. Press the lightning bulb to start to streaming the RF data. When this starts, we can right-click the graph and select absolute frequencies. We can right-click again and select show cursor value. Let's find this first frequency at 99.3 MHz. Then we go ahead and find another signal at 103.3 MHz. Let's go ahead and set these channels up. The center frequency 99.3 MHz of the first channel and 103.3 MHz in the second channel. By right-clicking on the row, you can select Configure FM 200K channel. Let's do that for the first channel as well. Okay, let's go ahead and enable these signals. So by pressing Active and Enable on both these channels, we start to stream the data out. Now we can see in the NC channel that we are actually streaming this data. We can play the channels back.
Ja, det finns ändå någonting i när ni...
We can also play the second channel. And we can record the first channel. And this will be saved as a WAV file. So now we have seen today the NC server, where you can see all the events happening, the command log, which is a great starting point if you want to make your own client applications. And then we have the NC config, where we can configure the tuner and configure the channels. Then we also have the NC channel, where we can view the channels, play the channels, and record the channels. And that concludes the demo.
Thank you for the demonstration, Jonas. The amount of broadcast signals increases every day, and so we need to selectively choose our signals of interest. For a comment application, the NC10 for USRP replaces hundreds of radios, with only one wideband receiver, for detection, analysis, and identifying emitters in its surroundings. In the industry, we have another example, where we collect several of transmitted signals from hard access sensors, collide all the information in real time to feed it back to the system under test. Before the video ends, I'd like to highlight some features. Based on our software, NC10, we enable you to channelize 512 individual tunable channels simultaneously and in real time. The system is standalone and remotely accessible due to the Ethernet-only connectivity. You can control the server with a user interface or with TCP/IP commands and let the server run as a service in Windows. For each channel, you can stream by setting the IP to each individual target. The channel data can be timestamped with the GPS for synchronization. Using channelization and demodulation from the source, reducing the data traffic over your network heavily compared with streaming the full wideband spectrum. Last but not least, contact us in an early stage to get the most out of your application. If the product doesn't fulfill your requirements, we help you out with a turnkey customized solution. Thank you for watching.